Everybody, we are live, and as you can see, I am here and Flip is not. Flip is out celebrating his birthday, but have no fear. He will be here in the next 20-25 minutes or so. We're just going to do some intro stuff and just kind of hang out and talk for a little while until we get to our main topic, and by then he'll be here. What's going on, Dave? Glad you're here. Just wanted to introduce everybody to one of my local friends. This is John. John,
Hello.
how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Talk some good movies.
John has a really interesting collecting philosophy. You want to share everybody what one of your big collection goals is? What's going on, Sardis? Glad you're here. Hey,
Like
Eric.
currently collecting
Yeah, the one that you're always talking about, the exciting one.
my best picture one.
Yeah.
So currently, yeah, I'm trying to collect every best picture nominee. And that's quite a task. A lot of them are pretty old, hard to find.
Right.
But it's been really fun to go on the hunt for them.
Of course.
So, can't see it over here, but behind me, almost an entire shelf full, up and down of lots of nominees.
How many are there in total? Because I know the number has changed a few times in history.
It's like 500 and some right now.
Jesus.
It's a high number. I think
How many are you up to at the moment?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I'm around like 250. 260. It's not an insane amount, but getting there.
Right, and one of the cool philosophies behind it, if I remember right, is you're not necessarily trying to go buy them all brand new because you could. You're just kind of going out and hunting like garage sales and thrift shops, and then our local exchanges and stuff like that.
Will Savers, City Thrift, garage estate sales.
Yep,
found some good old ones at estate sales.
I'm sure.
Great condition too. So, no problem there.
Right. So, with all that being said, you have, as far as I can remember, met a what most people would call a bucket load of famous people.
Yeah.
And have quite a few autographs. You want to share any of that?
I can show real fast. Let me turn the camera here. I've got up on my wall some of my favorites. I got the microphone on the way there. Sorry. It's really hard to see. I'm really sorry, but there's like Al Pacino, Michael J. Fox. I got Harrison Ford there. There's a Simon Pegg photo there. But
Sardis is asking, is this more than Best Picture that you're collecting, or is it just Best Picture?
Oh, that's just one of my collections. I also do the boutique stuff as well. So
the Oscar thing that you're collecting, he's asking if that is just for Best Picture or for all categories.
Oh no, just Best Picture. Just Best Picture. Every category would be really hard to do.
That would be a ton of films, especially some of those foreign films have never gotten any sort of release.
Yeah, no thanks.
Nerd, what's going on? Glad you're here. So we talked about some collecting. What about stuff that you've watched this last week? Anything that you've watched that you want to share other than what we're talking about tonight? Is there anything
other than what we're talking about? No, I've only been focusing on the topic. Literally just been focusing on the topic. Before that, some other Best Picture nominees because I'm trying to get through them all and watch them all as well. So I worked my way back through 2014 at least. So I got through like Theory of Everything, Fences, which I found dreadfully boring. I couldn't even get through it. A couple other ones, obviously, must not be memorable. Otherwise, I'd remember them.
Right. And that's it's a novel thing. I mean, most people that collect, they don't ever watch their movies. Obviously, that was a joke. I'm just saying. I'm glad you're doing it. Glad you're putting yourself through that. As for what I have watched this week, I watched. There is a movie that was making the rounds last year called "Coming Home in the Dark." Have you heard of that one?
Mm-mm.
It is a New Zealand. It because of the nature of the film, it gets lumped into horror, but it's not really horror. It's more. It's like the movie The Strangers, but in nature type of thing. Somebody just happens upon somebody, and they start to, terrorize them just because they're there, basically, sort of situation. And it's not really horror; it's more exploitation than anything. It was. I believe it's a New Zealand film, and there's a couple really great scenes in it, but man, it is. I think it was just around an hour and a half, and it still felt like it was about an hour too long, which is
Oh,
ridiculous.
yeah.
It is one of those movies. I watched the whole thing, and I was just waiting for some sort of climax, and it was one of those things where it just never came. It was one of those.
Mm.
I really wish that they would have just made it into a really tight short, and it would have been great. But it was decent. The other one that I was going to talk about tonight is I watched the partner label release from Def Crocodile, I think is the one that did it. The Unknown Man of Shandigor. It is a what they are calling a spy thriller from, I believe, the 60s. And let me see the year on it. Pulled 1967. And the big thing is it is very infused with like some shots that are made to look like spy thrillers, but all in all, there was a lot of mixed in humor. So, of course, it brought to mind. Why am I blanking? I'm going to blame this on COVID fog, but the why can't I think of it? How to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, or whatever it's called.
Okay.
Dr. Strangelove, that's the name of it.
All right.
It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
came to mind. So there are a few scenes that are just like that. It sounds just like Dr. Strangelove, but the big thing for me is it just did not stick. It just wasn't my type of movie. It was super well made, very, very beautifully restored. That is one of the most impressive things about it. Is it's from 1967 in black and white. It was lost for like 48 years or something, and it
Oh,
looked
wow.
brand new. It was
Yeah.
gorgeous. Dave just watched Hunter Killer. I've still not watched that one. I don't know about Gerard Butler yet. He's an interesting. He makes some odd choices. I will say that when it comes to acting. So those are the main ones I talked about for what I watched. Is there any pickups you wanted to bring up and share with everybody?
Well, I haven't picked up too much recently. Well, I've got a small little stack here. And again, of course, I haven't gotten around to really watching any of them because I've been focusing on other things. But I got the most recent Vestron of Candyman 3. I really like the cover on this one. I think it looks great.
It really does. It's sad that is the most redeeming part. Yeah.
So that's not whatever. I only watched the first Candyman for the first time this past Halloween.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did it stick coming up as your first watch? 20.
I mean, I liked it a lot.
20 years later, or 30 years later. Hello.
I liked it a lot. I really did. Have not seen any other ones though.
I highly suggest, now that you've seen that first one, watching the newest Candyman from last year.
Yeah.
It is a very, very good follow-up.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to watch that one. I also found out of print Demented Scream Factory.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a fairly recent out of print.
Got it for pretty cheap. Got it for $7. Found it at half price books literally an hour later for $30. So I'd say I got a good steal out of that one. And then
Artist has not seen any Candyman films.
Ooh.
I highly suggest them. That is a big blank spot. Especially the one in the 90s and from 2021. They're very important films for a lot of reasons, but the setting alone of that Chicago suburbs is one that you got to behold. It is done so well. And
the music's really good, although it reminded me too much of the Room soundtrack. If that makes any sense. It's the exact same piano score. I swear to God,
it doesn't make sense, but I get it.
And then I'll just share one more. I was really excited to get the big old box set of The Outsiders.
Ooh, that is a wonderful release.
Yeah, it's jam-packed with stuff. It's huge.
Yeah.
Really exciting. My mom taught this to her 7th grade class for many years. We visited The Outsiders' home in Tulsa this past summer. So have not dove into it yet, but really, really anxious to do so.
And I know we happen to have a couple people in Oklahoma, so if you are anywhere near Tulsa, highly suggest it. I've heard good things. Eric says he also picked up Shandigor on his to-watch list. The upcoming Def Crocodile release, it looks visually insane. Not sure if you saw any of those announcements today, but it looks wild. He also watched Curfew from Vinegar Syndrome. Surprisingly effective, much better than the Letterboxd average. I still haven't even got my sub package, so Curfew is on pretty high on my to-watch list. I'm hoping to get to that soon. My pickups, I got a couple easy ones, and then because Flip is going to be a little bit late, I got a friend of the channel named Zach that I'm going to unbox a package from him that we did some trades, and I won a couple raffles from. So let me share these, and then I'll get into Zach's package. I picked up the Mike Lee film Naked from BFI.
Okay.
Finally got this one. This is from 1993, and trying to get into more Mike Lee films. Two that are very perfect for this channel because we've talked about this type of thing for a long time. I finally got in a release of The Killer with Chow Yun-fat, and then to go right with it, Hard Boiled. Got these in a raffle that I didn't even win. Somebody else won the raffle, and I ended up trading that person, so it was perfect. The next one, I cannot remember the English language title for this, but let me see if I can look it up. It is marketed as a Django title, which we have talked on here many times about the mythical status of Django titles and all of that, because they are hardly ever, actual Django titles. So this is called May God Forgive You, But I Won't. And I really wanted to show this because I got both of these next two media books on the same day, and they are surprisingly similar. So this is the cover for May God Forgive You, But I Won't. And then the recent film, God, what year was this? 20... Of course, it is not easy to see on the back. I think this was like a 2012, maybe even later than that. Actually, I think this was like a 2015. But this is Kill List, and this is a pretty intense cover on this. I am getting super into media books lately, though. This one is from Germany, like most of them, and need to dive into it. But there is a whole bunch of pages in the middle here that I can read, and then, of course, it's got the movie. And then, let me bring up this nice box here, and of course, I popped the top with my blade, and the first thing I saw was a whole bunch of these things from Severin. Thanks, Zach. Highly appreciate that. And let's see. They're everywhere already. All right. Bubble wrapping individual titles. I like it. Makes for great TV, though. Not really. Let's see. Hilton says Mike Lee is well worth the deep dive, and Eric seems to agree. Appreciate that. This is a good first one to open. So this is the Steelbook, Night of the Demon Steelbook. And I just said Steelbook twice. I meant to say the Scream Factory, Night of the Demon Steelbook. And it looks like they autographed the plastic wrap. This is autographed by Angela and Linnea, both of them on there. And let's see what is next over here. Dave picked up Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 and Enter the Dragon from a flea market over the weekend. Nice. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm wearing a Kill Bill Volume 1 shirt tonight.
Very timely.
There's a nice comment to coincide with that. This one I am just going to tear open because there's a whole bunch of titles here. First one, super sleazy horror film called Stitches. I didn't have this one yet, and Zach was letting it go cheap.
Have you seen that one?
Then, no, I have not seen Stitches.
Oh, it's silly. It's really silly. It's worth.
I think I've watched the trailer about 9 times, though.
It's worth a watch because it's really silly.
So speaking of things that are super silly, he had this one that he was willing to let go, and I absolutely was not going to say no because it has been in my wish list for a long time, just based off the title, and I've never seen it. And that is the absolutely wonderful looking Death Spa.
I need
You'll
that.
sweat blood. And he's got it in an orange case, which is even better. Next up is The Eyes of My Mother, one that a lot of people swear is one of the most disturbing films they've ever seen. So that means I got to watch it. And then one that I have heard some rumors. I don't want to confirm anything yet, but from what I hear, this may get a U.S. release this year from one of our labels that we have, I think, alluded to on the stream already tonight. But that is Ragman, also known as Trick or Treat. This is a big title, got a lot of well-known faces in it. that has not had a good release in the States in a very long time. Another super rare title that is way more expensive than it should be. I got The Deadly Spawn. And now that I picked this up, this will probably get another release in like a week and a half from somebody else that will do absolutely terrible job with it. Let's see. I think there's one or two more things in here. This is one. I feel like you and I talked about this one before, actually, John. One of the times that you came over and hung out in here. Let me see. This is from Network, and it's in a protective case, but I'm going to take it out because it's going to be better looking if I take it out. Skolda pre-ordered some Eureka and 88 Films releases. Nice. Eureka has been killing it, and they are off to a good start again this year. So this is the Network release of The Woman in Black, the limited release with the slip, and then there is a really nice book here, but there is the cover that a lot of people will recognize. And then this is the book that comes on the inside. Really nice release. The booklet seems to be mostly, or all even, script pages. Very nice.
Okay, cool.
I like when they do that. I'm really tired of those random booklets like that new Criterion, the Once Upon a Time in China, where I think it's 25 pages and about a third of them are just credits. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why? We all have IMDb, Criterion. I do not understand it. All right, just making sure Zach did not put in any wacky tobacco or anything, because he would have. And two more, and that's it. Zach is going to watch this tomorrow and just be laughing. All right, this is another protective case here. Let me open this one up because I think this one has something special on the inside.
Ooh.
I am correct. So this is a slip-covered copy of Sleepaway Camp. But the cool part is when you take off the slip, it is signed by Felissa Rose in person. So I am stoked to have that. I somehow did not get her autograph the last time I met her. I'm super, super glad I can have that.
For sure.
And finally, this one. I totally forgot about this one. So this is one of the more rare titles, and I prefer Blu-ray and 4K nowadays, but this one I highly doubt will ever get a decent Blu-ray release. This is the DVD release of Leviathan, the story of Hellraiser 1 and 2, the documentary, which is very difficult to find nowadays, and I gotta love the back cover of this. That is just, it's very Hellraiser, that's for sure. Oh, wow. This even has a booklet for a DVD release, and it's 3 discs. Crazy.
Dang.
For a Hellraiser documentary.
They have such sights to show you. That's why.
Well, that shows how difficult acting is when that sort of tongue twister can get you. So, as all of you can see from the title, tonight we are talking about the top 3 and bottom 3 Leonardo DiCaprio performances of all time. We are not going to actually start our list until Flip gets here. Should be very soon. But I'm curious, what is your experience with Leonardo DiCaprio? Obviously, you said you've been watching a lot leading up to this, but what is
You're asking me a question, Ryan. You're cutting out, so give me 1 second here.
Yes, you were frozen on your end. That's probably why.
Okay, yeah. My internet's really shoddy right now. Of course, it would do that right now.
Yeah, as trying to stream. That makes sense. What is your history with Leonardo DiCaprio?
I mean, gosh, I don't know. As far back as I remember, it's my very first theater experiences was going to see a Leo movie, which I'm sure we can all guess what that would be. About a little boat that sunk.
Gilbert Grape?
Yes. There's a boat that sinks in that one too. No, I don't know. I've always been a really big fan of his work. Everything that he's in, is going to be a mark of quality for the most part. there's a few stinkers here and there, but like anything within the last 10 years, you're going to get a really good quality movie. Even going back to the Best Picture talk and collecting, I had them all pulled out. He's been in 9 Best Picture nominees. I mean, like,
wow.
Enough said. Like, mark of quality.
I'd also go a little deeper than the 10 years you just mentioned. I don't think he has made, first of all, for me at least, it was very difficult to pick a bottom 3 for Leo. There was a lot of inward debates, especially because, just a reminder, since this is only the second time we've done this for everybody, the rule that we're using here is not explicitly saying out loud the ones that we haven't seen. And there are some of his that I have not seen. So the ones that I have seen, it is difficult to parse those down because I specifically watched them because they're supposed to be great. And, I was trying to think through the list. There's not really any of his movies that have been bad or like called bad at all.
Yeah.
He has been in Best Picture nominees in literally 3 different decades so far. And I guarantee you he'll be in a 4th decade very soon, I'm sure.
The new Scorsese movie, guarantee it.
That is the guess, yeah.
It's a lock. It's a lock.
Yeah, basically. So that is obviously incredibly impressive. But growing up, you alluded to one title that all of us have seen, of course, and it was really what got him on the map. And I am stoked to be able to talk about him tonight. I will say, I mentioned this off camera. I made my list. I poured over it probably 25, 30 times trying to figure out if I wanted to change things. I did make 2 changes. And then when I was done, I read my list to my wife and thought I was going to be murdered tonight. Thankfully, I am here to share my list. But it was an interesting discussion. She seems to be very against some of my picks. Last week, we were talking about recommendations somewhat. And Sardis says, I ordered the tripods recently recommended. Thank you very much. And enjoyed Revolutionary Road. And I will say, our viewership lately has had really spot-on recommendations. So anybody that always wants to share with the community, by all means, please do. And now, since we're still kind of waiting on Flip, what is everybody's favorite Leo performance out there? Just send a quick comment. What are you thinking is the best, not movie he's been in, because we're going to judge that differently. What do you think is the best Leo performance specifically? John and I will not comment on our feelings on that necessarily, but I'm curious what everybody out there thinks. And he has, such a wide gamut and started so young for somebody that's still, he's not old, but he's not a tiny kid or anything. But man, he is fairly young still and still putting out just incredible performances. There you go. Eric says he first came up in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And I said that earlier kind of as a joke, but also it's a lot of people's first recommendations from him. And on top of that, he was in The Quick and the Dead. That's one a lot of people always forget that he was in. Not really one that gets talked about nowadays, especially it's a Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi has done great stuff forever. So I don't get that one necessarily. Let's see. I am trying to vamp for some time. We're going on 25 minutes without Flip. Let me see how long he's going to be. Eric says Critters 3. Have you seen Critters 3? Did you watch it to get ready for this?
No, but I was going to joke and I was going to say my number 1 was Critters 3, but I didn't get time to get around to it.
I will give it away here. I was going to put Critters 3 on my list, but I could not talk myself into thinking if I had seen that one or not. Reading the synopsis, I think I have, but it has been so long since I've seen any of the Critters things. Other than, did you watch any of the new series they did for Sci-Fi or whatever a couple years back?
No.
I watched half of the first episode. Half of the first episode, and I went, there is no soul in this, and just had to turn it off.
No. I've only seen the first one, and that's good enough for me. I mean, I have the box set back here, but someday.
They're not terrible. They are very weird, I will say that. So Eric says his favorite. Yeah, the first one's really good. Eric says his favorite is Critters 3. Anybody else with the favorite Leo? Eric says, I watched the first Critters this summer, but haven't watched the rest yet. I will say 2 is at least pretty good. I don't remember if I've seen the rest, like I said, but 2 is pretty dang good. R. Brooks says, Wolf of Wall Street, his physical comedy is surprisingly great. There is so much over-the-top comedy in that movie. And I still love that McConaughey is like barely in that film and has one of the most memorable scenes out of nowhere. And it was freaking improv. It was improv, and everybody is still quoting it. Yeah, amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
McConaughey's amazing. Always.
All right.
So what I was alluding to with the autographs earlier, not to show what you have, you want to share what used to happen and where you used to live and how you came about getting a lot of those autographs?
Yeah, so originally I'm from Iowa, Northwest Iowa. And growing up, well, first of all, I became fascinated with movies at a really young age. When I was in 1999, 98, the straight filmed, which I got back here. Just, of course,
as you were
David
turning
Lynch.
around, it cut out on you. I think he was saying the Straight Story filmed in his hometown.
Yes, Straight Story was filmed in my hometown. So I became fascinated with movies at a young age. And from then on, just anything movies I was so into. And when I was in middle school, my parents, they bought a pub. And one of the things that we wanted to do was we wanted to figure out a cool way to decorate our place. And so we came up with the idea of collecting autographs. So I sent letters and letters and letters and received many, many bits of mail with autographs and hung them up on our that pub. But that didn't stop my autograph collecting. And when we moved down here to Kansas City, Comic-Cons became my big interest. So attending Comic-Con here, going to the Fan Expo in Dallas, Crypticon here as well. Just awesome, once in a lifetime opportunities to meet so many cool people. I've got over here, you can't see it, but I've got like Tim Curry, Jeff Goldblum, all the Boondock Saints. I've got this really awesome poster of the entire Losers Club from the newest It movie signed. Nice. So my goal is to get the adults and, of course, Bill Skarsgård on it. So that's going to take some time, but I guess I have all the kids on there. So it's a really neat piece. But yeah, I've been autograph collecting and a junkie forever, and it's an extremely fun hobby. And just neat opportunities to meet these people. That's my big thing, is just to meet them.
Who are a couple of the favorites that you've actually had to interact with?
Who are some of my favorites I've had to interact with? Oh gosh.
Yep.
Well, I had with Tim Curry, it was a one-on-one meeting. I was allowed a minute, but just to be able to stand in his presence was incredible. Of course, this was after his stroke, so very soft-spoken. Obviously didn't say much, but I'll never forget that. Jeff Goldblum, going back to him, he's exactly as you'd expect. Just an odd character. In our picture for our photo op, he was singing in my ear. Just coming along to something. I have no idea what he was doing. Just absolute weirdo. Trying to look around and see if I have any other neat things. I've got binders behind me. They're hidden right now, but just filled with different signatures.
So Eric took back Critters 3, and now he's saying Django Unchained is his favorite. And Cohen says, thought he was great in the Basketball Diaries. That is not an answer that you're going to hear very often. What's going on, Foo? Glad you're here. And Jeff Goldblum. I've got a friend that also has a picture with him. Was that at a Planet Comic-Con here just a couple years ago?
Dallas in 2018, maybe. Not too long
Leo
ago.
was great in Growing Pains, and I will stand by that. Damn it. I think he fit in very well in Growing Pains. And I grew up watching Growing Pains all the time. Nerd says he was great in The Departed, which is one of, let's see, I think this is something I can stand behind. One of the first times that Leo really started to disappear into a character, I think, was in The Departed. Let's see. Sardis says, my wife used to clean Dan Blocker's boat. What in the world? What an odd anecdote. All right. Interesting. Eric says, yeah, I saw a lot of the show when I was a kid. Growing Pains, for some reason, it was always on at my house. I don't know why. Thinking about that, I can't remember now.
Before my time.
Yeah, just a little bit. I feel like, and this is not going to mean anything to the show whatsoever, but I think because I grew up in Southern California near LA, I feel like my dad had something to do with one of the sets down there during that. It was either Growing Pains or All in the Family, or not All in the Family. What is the other one that was also on around that time?
Family
I don't
Matters.
know. Nah, I don't think that's the one. But something like that. Yeah, I feel like he had something to do down there, but I don't remember what job he would have done that. I think he delivered things for a little while. My dad is wild. My dad was a drug dealer. So, anyways, yes. So we got some Leo talk out of the way, and Flip is on his way now. So we should be hearing from him very soon. Anything else? Any upcoming releases that you're excited about?
Oh my god, too many of them. Well, today we sort of talked about the Vinegar Syndrome releases. That Drop Dead Fred cover looks incredible.
Yep.
I know nothing of the movie. I want to check it out. I know it's a really wanted title for a lot of people on Blu-ray.
It is. Yeah.
So I'm anxious to check that out. The other one from today was Beware Children at Play, because that's a Trauma movie, and you can't go wrong with Trauma. Toxic Avenger is one of my all-time great B movies.
Plus, you're super into Red Letter Media, and they talked about that one before also.
So that's what I was gonna say was Jay Bauman mentioned I don't know what movie it was. I think it was Bloody Birthday they were talking about, and how at the end of that movie they don't kill the kids, and he goes, if you're gonna make a movie about shitty children, you need to kill those kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, Beware Children at Play does that. So spoiler alert for a 80s trauma movie.
Well, and that's the joy with a lot of these. Most people have not seen a lot of the titles, and they are just a chance to branch out. But other than Vinegar Syndrome, it has been just a wild couple of weeks for announcements. There are so many that are coming out. Let's see. Fu ordered Sex and Zen today. Sadly, it's an upscale, uncut though. I actually just got that release in today also. Yeah. Let's see. So we had in 1 week, we had the Arrow announcements, we had Scream Factory announcements, and we had Vinegar Syndrome announcements. And not to mention, they put out 4 titles of their own, and we got 12 partner label announcements from Vinegar Syndrome today, which is just, crazy. First off, overwhelming. But second off, they are consistently putting out just great, great products. And Nerd, I agree with you. I love Drop Dead Fred when I was a kid also. There are a lot of people saying it's divisive online today, which I just don't understand how. I think it's because it's probably a little too mainstream for Vinegar Syndrome titles, and it's kind of a family-friendly film. Like, it's not... I don't think my kids are ready for it, but it's like it would have fit at home in the Severin Kids line, and that could be turning them off. But it's genuinely a great, great freaking movie, and I can't wait to see it. Rick, I think his name is Rick Mayall, and then Phoebe Cates. Yeah. You can't go wrong with Phoebe Cates at all. Oh, Sardis, don't remind me. I got to do taxes this weekend. The worst.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Scream Factory announced a few titles, and we are getting Happy Death Day 1 and 2 on 4K. Any thoughts on those?
Sorry, you cut out for me.
Happy Death Day. Have you seen either of those? What do you think on them?
Give me 1 second here, Ryan. I don't know why it's decided to do this tonight, of all nights.
Clifford, we are not done for the night. I promise you. There's lots of Leo talk. We are just stalling to have Flip show up so that we can actually do the list. Because I'm willing to bet at least one of us is going to talk about that film, and we'll talk about it in discards afterwards, anyways. Because literally almost any of his films, you can make an argument for it being one of his best films.
Mm-hmm.
So, Happy Death Day. Have you seen either of the first two?
Just the first one. Yeah, that was seemed like a fun announcement. I'm gonna want to get those, of course, too.
Yeah.
I liked the first one. I thought it was a nice, just fun. You know, I hate the phrase "turn off your brain" movie, but that definitely is one of them. Well, look who's here.
What's up?
My man.
What's going on, guys? What's going
How
on?
we
Oh,
doing?
hey, you want to say hi to my friends? Dude, everyone's here. Look, say, what's up, dudes?
Well, what's that?
Say, dudes.
That's all your friends?
Yeah, this is my friend Ryan,
Or was it
and
Hi.
that is my friend John. Will you say,
Hello.
what's up, Buttercups?
What's up, guys?
All right, baby. I love you. Go to bed. What's going on, guys?
Nerd says hey, and
Nerd.
Sardis says
What's going
happy
on, bro?
birthday.
Thank you, Sardis. How's everyone doing tonight?
Doing all right.
Good. How are you? I heard happy
Doing
birthday.
all right. Well, it was technically Sunday, but I had to work, so we celebrated tonight with my parents. And
So,
it was good.
we did pickups, we did watches. You want to share any pickups or watches?
Yeah, pickups just real quick. I got the 2 new 88 films releases. This one's upside down. We got Legendary Weapons of China and Flag of Iron, both classics. I talked about this in my pickups video. These are these new batch of 88 films releases feel like big important pieces because they have the artwork by Kung Fu Bao, which this one's nuts. And this has 3 commentaries on it. You got commentary with Frank Jang and martial artist Michael Worth, commentary, solo Frank Jang commentary. No hat flip. I don't know where it's at. I can't. I literally asked Taylor. I said, Taylor, where's my hat? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, well. And then it's got a third commentary by Mike Leader and Arnie Venom. So this is 3 commentaries on it.
Nice.
And then I also this isn't
Oh, no.
movie related, but I got the new Super Sentai manga. So the show Power Rangers is based off of Super Sentai. Started in a manga form. Yeah. Well, first off, Boo, you gave that movie 2 stars. So we need to have a little talk about Legendary Weapons of China. And then the thing I've been most hyped about, my most anticipated manga in a long time, is the Kamen Rider manga, the complete original series. So
That is
when
massive.
people talk about manga, they always credit Osamu Tezuka, who created Astro Boy, as like the godfather of manga. But Shitaro Ishinomori, who did these 2, without him, we wouldn't have half of the Japanese stuff that we have today. So, like entertainment-wise. So, really, really pumped about those 2. And watches, the only standout thing is I watched Clean last.
Which what?
Clean with Adrian Brody.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It was on. I thought it was in theaters only. It's on Amazon for $6.
He wants me! I want Taylor!
Sorry, guys.
It's all right. It's a
Oh my
celebration night. I understand.
Yeah, it's a celebration night. So I watched Clean, which is Adrian Brody's John Wick movie. It's about a guy who is a trash man whose name is Clean, and he has a dark past, which they don't really like. They like hint around it, but they don't directly tell you what happened. Something happened. He's in the town is Ithaca, New York. It's something New York.
Ithaca.
It's like Ithaca. That's what it is. And something happened in Chicago where he killed a bunch of people with a wrench. So yeah, and he's a really like soft-spoken guy, and it's a big wrench, like one of those like massive like red wrenches, that are thick. He killed a bunch of people with it, and he's just kind of living a quiet life. His daughter had died, and he has flashbacks of her passing. Adrian Brody acts extremely well. The color grading is great. The action sequences are violent, but it's a slow movie up until about the 50-minute mark. It's about an hour and a half till about the 50-minute mark. Then it starts getting crazy. overall, it's solid. I gave it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars.
I am super interested. It must have stood out to say that the color timing was good. What makes it stand out so much that is noteworthy?
You know, I feel like today, especially with new movies, we're just kind of everything has like the same color grading. You know what I mean? Like everything just looks the same.
That blue
This,
tinge, yeah.
yeah, this has a very raw feel that is very reminiscent to like I would say King of New York, Deep Cover, those like '90s noir-esque crime thrillers. But the director, the only downside is that the director does some pretty hokey things. Adrian Brody composed the soundtrack too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, under Brody Beats. I don't know.
Interesting.
And there's a couple rap songs in the movie that I'm like, damn, what is this? I need this for my playlist. And then I look, and it's Adrian Brody's beat, but he just has random rappers on it. Like there's one where the guy's like talking about being like Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers. They always got knives by them, and I was like, damn, I need shit for my playlist.
Interesting. Selvin says I can't
agree.
stand the color grading on a lot of the Netflix originals, and I fully agree. They
Completely
all
agree.
It's like they give the same camera and editor to every crew and say, "Go have fun." I don't get it.
Yeah, Brody was great, man. He apparently wrote this movie. He wrote it, composed it, produced it, starred in it. It's a little generic. I mean, it's a little generic. It's not like a crazy movie, but it's a good. It's a solid film. There was a time where Brody's crying about his daughter being dead, and Taylor had to get up and like kind of like walk away because she was very emotional.
Right.
Good night. I love you. I gotta give her a hug. I love you, sweetie. Mwah. Good night, sweetie.
Well, that got wild. That was fun.
Yeah, she had 4 apple juice.
Oh, geez.
Zoomed out.
Before I go to the next thing, I got a few that you're actually going to be proud of. I got these in.
Finally, dude, you're like 30 years too late, my man.
Well, I've wanted these specific releases, and I got them for free, so I had to wait. I got in a media book from Diabolic for "May God Forgive You, But I Won't," and it's a Django title.
That's awesome.
And I showed this to go with it. I got this on the same day, and look how similar the covers are. This is amazing. This is Kill List.
That's great. What is that?
A Kill List is a really interesting modern, like British Scorsese film. Essentially, it's not mob based, but it's very crime centered, and it feels like something he would do. Kill List is great. If you've not seen it, highly recommend it, and it does feel like one that you would love. It's not horror at all.
Maybe I will rent that tonight because that sounds right up my alley.
It is amazing. It's in German. I was going to read the synopsis, but yeah, I can't read German.
Hey, send me a link to that Django media book because I believe that May God Forgive You, I Won't is one that I do not have in my collection.
It is probably long out of stock, but I'll give it just so you can set up for the wait list. Earlier, while we were waiting, we talked about what led to us appreciating Leo. Anything from your past, or the first thing that you saw Leo in, or any good memories associated with him?
Yeah, I just gotta say his dating record. Doesn't date over 25. Very smart man. I'm just kidding. Me and Taylor were actually talking about this last night because we're talking about doing the topic tonight, and I was like, man, Leo's so good, but like borderline creepy with that stat. But man, Giselle.
Is it 25? I thought it was 23.
25. 25 is a cutoff. He's only dated one girl at 25.
Jeez.
Nerd
was talking about The Killer and Hard Boiled, said, at least I want them for free because the transfers are bad. Yes, but they're the best we have at the moment for good, legit releases.
I was about to say, you could get the Hong Kong Rescue, but fuck that guy.
First off, I don't want to wait 18 months. And second off, no, fuck him.
Hey, I'm almost as bad as that shit. So that's pretty.
That is true. So to remind everybody the rules as we get into this legitimately, we are going to start in the middle. So we're going to start at our number 3 worst Leo DiCaprio movie, and you can base this however you want. If you want to go off of his performance or the movie itself, what you think is his third worst film. We'll go around the circle, then we'll do second, then first. Then we'll go to his third best film, go second and first, and then afterwards we'll talk about everything in between, and we'll talk about ones we haven't seen, stuff like that.
So you want to do all three worst and all three best?
We're gonna do. Flip is gonna do his number 3 worst, then you, then me, and then he'll do 2. Then you
go
then
first.
Me.
You go first.
Okay, I will happily do that because I have a feeling my number 3 worst film is going to be one that pisses everybody off. So I'm going to start this off on a terrible, terrible note. I probably shouldn't have led into it like that, but I'm hoping Flip can still hear me. I will say,
I can. Yep.
Good. My number 3 worst film from Leonardo DiCaprio is Titanic.
All right, go on. Go on.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Right.
So,
Good.
first off, I don't think she went to bed. I love it. So I will say Titanic. It is a good film. There's nothing that I would say is flagrantly wrong with Titanic. I appreciate James Cameron. I think he is a competent filmmaker. I think Titanic is overly long. I think it is a really good adaptation of a story that we've all heard many, many times. I think the acting overall is pretty damn good. I think that there's a lot of stuff in it that is unnecessary to the plot and takes away from the overall impact of the story. I think Kate Winslet is great in it, and I think she steals the show from Leo. Wow.
First pair of boobs I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, she was very good. I also really appreciated that Kathy Bates was in it. I think that she did great. I can't stand Billy Zane, so he kind of decreased my appreciation of this film. John is going to be laying into me as soon as we open.
I actually agree with you, Ryan. I actually agree with you.
I'm glad.
Well,
I am glad.
For different reasons, but all right, go on. Yeah.
I mean, Titanic has got more praise than most films in history ever. So I don't need to keep saying great things about it. I think that a lot of Titanic doesn't stand up as good anymore. It doesn't quite hold up to what I wish it would have been. Oh God, Hans, that freaking 2 Titanic VHS double set where you had to get up in the middle of it. It's all climactic water pouring in, and you have to get up and put the second cassette in. Why? Ah, it's awful.
I have it memorized.
The only good thing about that movie is this fucking Celine Dion song.
Well, and to be fair, it is a very good song.
It's a bang.
Very iconic. John, any rebuttals that you want to lay on for Titanic? Go ahead.
We'll find out later. All right.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about it later, I guess.
We'll talk about it later.
And this is my main feeling on it. Leo was still incredibly young, and he does not have like this incredible performance. The movie is good. I'm not taking away from that, but it is not Leo's like standout film at all. He is good in it, but he is not like, he didn't deserve an Oscar or anything. Stendhal, that is the only thing that Billy Zane deserved to be in. Well, I probably shouldn't be that broad. There's a couple other things he hasn't been awful in, but I really don't love Billy Zane. Demon Knight, he is great. Billy Zane. All right, John, what is your third? Oh, wait, Flip, do you want to say anything about Titanic being in my number 3?
It's the worst James Cameron movie. Avatar is a better movie.
Those are the only 2 James Cameron films.
I mean, when I think of bad James Cameron movies, it's Titanic, Avatar.
Somebody has not seen all the Piranha films.
Hey, I didn't say masterpiece. It's a bad. So
got it.
True Lies
is a
masterpiece.
No, but I mean, I think that movie. It's one of those things where it feels like it was Infinity War for old people, like back in the day. Like everyone was like super hyped about it. My parents were hyped about it. I tried rewatching it recently, and I was just like, "This movie can go fuck." It's just it.
I skipped over this somehow. Titanic. Sardis says I have a picture of me holding an Oscar of Titanic. That's awesome. And then Fu says Titanic is the only movie that made me fall asleep in the theater.
Oh, my pick is one of the only movies that made me fall asleep in the theater, and it's a Leo movie. That's very weird.
It seems like Dave seems to hate my pick, though. That's funny. And Stendhal says I always hated the Titanic. All right. Go ahead, John. What is your number 3 worst Leo film?
Okay, my number 3, it's kind of cheating in a way because I guarantee you two have never seen it, nor have any of your audience. It's because it is illegal to distribute in the United States. And it is a movie that he did in the mid-90s called Don's Plum. Have you guys heard of this?
No.
Okay,
sounds like a sex act.
It's what they wished it would be. So a review I read said it's My Dinner with Andre meets Clerks.
IMDb says that came out all the way in 2001, by the way.
Filmed in like 95, though.
Weird.
Yeah, so it's got Leo, it's got Tobey Maguire, and Kevin Connolly, which I told my mother I wouldn't swear on this podcast, but the Pussy Posse, if you've heard of that. So they're all in it, and it's all improv. It's all just improv dialogue, and they're sitting at a table, and they're incredibly misogynistic. They smoke because smoking's cool.
Right.
They say bro after every single sentence. I mean, it's like bro. And there's one line, I wish I wrote it down. I mean, he's awful. He's just absolutely terrible. I think Tobey Maguire is way more cringy in it, but Leo's really bad. It's just a terrible movie. It's on YouTube if you all want to check it out. I wouldn't recommend it though. It's just it was a waste of time. But I'm glad I watched it because it was a waste of time.
Well, first of all, I don't think you answered. Why is it illegal?
Because Leo and Toby will sue if it ever gets any distribution.
No, I read that Toby and Leo were childhood friends.
I believe they were.
Like grew up together. Yeah. That's cool.
And that makes sense with when it was filmed. If it was in the mid-90s, yeah, they were both around that age. And Sardis says, who directed this? It was directed by R.D. Robb, and it's his only directing credit, which that makes sense.
And apparently that R.D. Robb was part of the posse, but because he wanted it distributed and Leo and them didn't, their friendship broke off.
Right.
He got kicked out of the Pussy Posse.
Yeah. And to add on this is the last thing I want to add. And this is going to be a running theme for all 3 of my movies. Leo hisses at a woman in this movie, like a cat. In any movie that Leo or somebody hisses like a cat in is a bad movie.
I don't know, that alone has made me want to watch this over Titanic.
Just like that.
Damn it, I was going to say it.
This sounds better than the Titanic.
So Skolder went and got the exact wordage. Wordage? That's not a word. As a result of a lawsuit brought by stars Leo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, settled in '99, this film cannot be shown commercially in the USA or Canada.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
Don's
I've never heard of that.
Plum.
But I trust you, John.
Jeremy's sister was in it. Oh God.
Fu says, have you really lived? You haven't kicked out. If you haven't been kicked out of the Pussy Posse? I mean, I was never even invited, so I'm really living.
Well, I obviously have no argument against that. So well done for picking that. Flip, let's see what your 3rd worst Leo film is.
The only movie I've ever fallen asleep in a theater, The Great Gatsby.
Oh yeah.
That makes sense.
I cannot give I don't even know what happens in that movie. I literally fell asleep before it started. And that's never happened.
Ooh,
so yeah, that's the worst movie. And it's a musical, right?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think it is. I think it has, like, music plays an important part in it, but I don't think it's, like, where they break out a song.
No.
Well, it's bad. So.
Stendhal says, "Can you imagine if DiCaprio played Harry Osborn instead of James Franco in the Raimi Spider-Man movies?"
I can't see
Would've
it,
been great.
but I don't know. I
Well,
can't
and
see.
he's got previous experience with Sam Raimi. Would have been perfect.
And it would have been just early enough, like pre-Gangs of New York, Catch Me If You Can. So like, who knows? I guess, I don't know.
Cohen says, "Great call, Flip. Forgot about how crappy Gatsby was."
It should have been called The Great Crapsy.
Wow. Reached for that pun. All right. So my number two. My number two is number two for me because the film is okay, but it's incredibly cheesy. And I feel like this one might be one that I finally match with John. And number two for me is The Man in the Iron Mask. Wow. Have you seen The Man in the Iron Mask, Flip?
Yeah, that's actually on my list. So my number two is that too. So there you go.
All right, there you go.
Perfect. So The Man in the Iron Mask is from 1998. And the big thing here is this has a pretty decent cast. Jeremy Irons, John Malkovich, Gerard Depardieu, Gabrielle Byrne. Let's see. Hugh Laurie is in it. Peter Sarsgaard is in it. I think that is it. But it is the cruel King Louis XIV of France has a secret twin brother whom he keeps imprisoned. Can the twin be substituted for the real king? And the masks in that film are just... I mean, it comes across as like wanting to be what the first Pirates of the Caribbean film ended up being, like that sort of feeling, and it's just doesn't get there. So it feels like they're acting in like a Shakespeare in the Park type of play, and it comes across as so not earnest and just falling apart. And it seems to be one that a lot of women love, and I nothing against that whatsoever, but I can't get into it. Not my type of film. I don't like that one. And since it's your number two, you want to share anything on that one, Flip?
Just bored me to death. Like there's a couple movies that Leo's in. I'm really hesitant to put The Aviator on my list because that's another movie where it's just boring. Like it's just it doesn't seem like that movie should have been made. Those two specifically. But, and I'm very easily not bored. So if something is boring to me, then pretty boring. Very articulate with my words.
Any thoughts on The Man in the Iron Mask from you, John?
I just remember seeing the VHS cover everywhere as a kid because that would be right after Titanic.
It was a big rental film.
I'm trying to think. My oldest sister, would have been up. She was, big Leo fan. I don't remember if she ever saw it, but I do remember it everywhere after, 98 or whatever. He's got that really long hair.
He does, and it doesn't work. Yeah, Skolder is diving into this lawsuit for us, and this is super shady. According to a deposition by DiCaprio, this was intended to be a short film. It was shot over 2 days and mostly improvised, and they believed that the footage would be edited down. And that was for that, what is it, Don's Plum? Yeah, Don's Plum.
Don's Plum.
That is crazy that they would just keep all that footage and make a full film out of it without telling him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, John. Moving on, seemingly quick through these bottom ones. What is your number two?
My number two is Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
I really hate it. I hate that movie. So I get the idea of, adapting a contemporary and modern Shakespeare play, into a modern setting, or even just in an alternate setting other than Shakespeare time. I think of like Throne of Blood, Lion King, things like that. But I don't know. It doesn't work for me. I really don't like it. We watched it in freshman year English class instead of the 60s one, and all we did was laugh the entire time because it's just so over the top. Baz Luhrmann, okay, Great Gatsby, that's Baz Luhrmann. It's that insane kinetic energy style, and I mean it worked for like Moulin Rouge, but I don't think it works for like a Romeo and Juliet. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. And to go along with the hissing, there is a Capulet that hisses in that movie towards Leo and Romeo. It's when Tybalt comes out and one of his like cronies towards Romeo and the Montagues. So I don't know. I mean, I could see why young kids and like audiences nowadays would want to watch it because it's easier to follow, but it's so bad. It's so bad. My mom was an English teacher too for 30 some years, and she told me last night, she goes, I could never even finish that when it came out. It was just that bad. And I rewatched it yesterday morning, and no, still not for me. Terrible.
So that was your number 2 worst, right?
That was my number 2 worst, which means I got something worse than that.
We had to watch that for, I believe, freshman English class, and then we had to put on a play, and I played Juliet. So imagine 400-pound me, and I kissed the dude for real. Like me and my friend Jake at the time, I was like, "Do you want to just kiss on the lips?" He was like, "Do it, dude." So we got in trouble for that.
Did you wear?
I gotta say, kissing a dude, huh?
No, go ahead.
I was in a dress.
I was gonna say, did you wear the angel wings though, like she did in the? Because
I had a dress on and I had some crappy makeup and I had this beard. And I kissed another freshman boy, and I gotta say, I'm not Katy Perry. It was not for me. It was not my. About the most experimenting I've done.
But did he have the cherry chapstick?
He had makeup on, so yeah, probably.
Yeah, cool. So this is going to be fairly easy to transition because we already did Flip's number 2, and that means it would be my turn for number 1, and my number 1 is Romeo and Juliet. Fuck everything about this movie. Baz Luhrmann is just a piece of absolute crap directing this film. This is so bad. A couple things I want to point out that I love how much I'm in touch with everybody commenting right now. Stendhal, right on the nose. I cannot stand Claire Danes in this fucking movie. She is horrendous. Second, John says, my sister watched the F out of it, plus had the CD soundtrack. The music in this, horrendous. It does not fit the tone of the film, and it is trash. It is so bad. I don't understand why it has gotten all the critical love, because it deserves zero of it.
I have a question though. What's your favorite Romeo and Juliet adaptation, and why is it Romeo Must Die?
I mean, we've kind of touched on this previously, a little bit about Shakespeare adaptations, but to be kind of sacrilege, I don't love a lot of Shakespeare adaptations. The ones that I really love are the ones that take the story and make it their own. So for things like Romeo Must Die, or like Clueless, genuinely, I think Clueless is one of the best versions of a Shakespeare adaptation. I think it's genuinely pretty great. All right, John, what is your number 1 worst Leonardo DiCaprio film of all time?
My number 1, my worst, The Beach.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be your number 1.
Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. That movie sucks so hard. That's another one, like Man in the Iron Mask. I saw that VHS everywhere.
It was everywhere.
And because of the success of Titanic, that was his first follow-up, or one of his first ones. God, I wrote down just for my first bit of note here, Leo was nominated for a Razzie for that movie, but guess who he lost to?
Wait, what year did it come out?
It was 2000.
2000.
It's probably gonna be something that doesn't even deserve a Razzie.
Tom Green for Freddy Got Fingered.
No, John Travolta in Battlefield Earth.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So that movie is just there's this really lazy narration to it all, and which I think would work better because it was a book by Alex Garland, which I didn't realize. So the narration for first person perspective works so much better in novel form, but it's just so bad. There's this really cringy moment where, like, near the end, he like, have you guys seen it? I'm just gonna ask.
We are not supposed to reveal this till the end because we might have
true.
to meet you number 1 on the other end.
I forget that. There's a scene where he hallucinates he's in a video game, and it's really bad and out of place of the entire movie. And I don't know, like the locations are pretty. Everything about it looks kind of fun, because that island is supposed to be just absolute gorgeous. It got overran by tourists in real life. But yeah, terrible. The second half absolutely sucks. It's got these weird visions and weird edits, and it doesn't fit tonally with the rest of the movie. And then my final thing I was going to add to it, yes, Leo hisses once again at a girl. He's hiding in the grass, and he hisses at a woman, and then she gets shot to death. So absolutely terrible. That's it. I got nothing more.
The two things you should never do at a woman: hiss and shoot her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's the end of the list.
That's it.
I mean, everything else is.
All right, Flip.
Actually, I'm gonna hiss at my wife tonight. See what she does. Can you, John? Can you give me like a good hiss so I can try it out? Like, how does Leo do it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She'll be like, "What are you dying?" I'll be like, my number one. It's hard because, again, I think Leo's track record, besides the ones that we have mentioned, is for an actor that's in as many movies as he is. It's pretty solid. There are movies I don't like. I think he's in the two worst Martin Scorsese films. I think The Departed and Shutter Island are two of Marty's worst films. Not that they're bad movies; they're just the lesser of the Marty movies. He's in stuff like Blood Diamond that I don't necessarily enjoy. I'm looking at my list right here. He's in stuff like Catch Me If You Can and Gangs of New York, which I don't necessarily like either. But I think The Aviator is probably my least favorite Leo film. It feels like we're talking about the Titanic. Flip, you'll think of a hairball. Probably look at me. I am a hairball. It feels bloated. It feels really bloated. It feels like there's just too much they wanted to do in such a in a very short time. And I think when it came out, it was trying to be grand and epic, and it just, for me, failed. So
that makes sense. Nerd says, Flip, I enjoyed Blood Diamond. And I gotta be honest, I did too. I think it's pretty decent.
Really? Maybe I should go back to it.
And honestly, Get to New York is an incredible film. That genuinely, that was really weird. You were showing up as horizontal for a moment.
Gangs is fine. It's just I think Gary Oldman. Is it Gary Oldman, right?
That no, that
Daniel
is
Day-Lewis?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis. Sorry, Daniel Day-Lewis carries that fucking.
I mean, overall, really great cast of that film.
I think Daniel Day-Lewis carries it.
We had Leo, Cameron Diaz, Daniel Day-Lewis, John C. Reilly, Henry Thomas is in it, Liam Neeson, Brendan Gleeson. Let's see. I think those are all the big names, but as a core cast, that's pretty damn great.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty great.
And John C. Reilly, really good in that film.
John C. Reilly's good in most things.
That is a very good point. I've loved him in pretty much everything he's done.
Dr. Steve Brule. Love that man.
Walk Hard, dude. I love Walk Hard so much. Okay. Let's
I
go to
don't
the top.
actually. It's really weird walking while you're hard.
All right. I love that at the beginning of this, John was talking about his mom watching, and you're like...
Sorry, Mrs. Stumpf. We'll not talk about my penis anymore.
That's probably not true. So we're going to reverse course. Flip, you are going to go first for the number 3 top Leo film
Brian,
of all
did you
time.
give your number 1?
I did. It was Romeo and Juliet as well.
Okay. I must have missed that.
My number 3. Wait, you're doing 3, right? Number 3?
Number 3.
My number 3 favorite Leo film, Django Unchained. He is absolutely electrifying in that movie as John Candy, and just incredible performance. He's got an intensity to him, like even from the offset when you first meet him, and you like if you haven't seen the trailer or anything for this movie, when you first are introduced to him, he seems like a decent dude. Not decent, he's a slave owner, but you're like, hey, he's not evil. Maybe this isn't the villain. This is someone else is going to be the villain, and he is just a terrifying person. Incredible. And then I don't know if this is true or not. Is it Kerry Washington who plays Django's wife? He cuts his hand on the glass and smears his blood on her. That was improvised. First off, that's what a fucking awesome thing to improvise. keep composure during a scene when you're bleeding. Just a stellar performance, and also you get to hear him say the N word, which is just one of the great cinematic joys. Is first off, I never thought I would hear Leo say that in my life because there are a few actors where you're like, I don't want to ever hear them say racial slurs. Leo says it, and it's just like, what the? He puts a lot of power behind it, and then from behind the scenes, Jamie Foxx said that Leo was like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry." Like, so
That's one of those, like, if he didn't say it in The Departed, it was going to have to be Django that it was going to be in.
you know what pisses me off? So I'm not a racist person, even though we like to have fun and joke. The Departed does a thing at the opening of the movie. Jack Nicholson says the N word. He says the N words in reference to what you think is the plot of the movie.
Right.
Not a single fucking black person is in the rest of the movie, and it has nothing to do with it. It's like Martin Scorsese was just like, let's just say the N word at the beginning of the movie. Like before, it's just black. Disgusting.
It was rough. Yeah,
Oh
Django
my
was great.
god! Wait, did you see this?
Fu, we will talk about it in just a little bit, I promise.
This man says this movie's bad, but then he rates one of the greatest kung fu comedies of all time 2 stars.
You can't just keep
Just
ragging
kidding. I love him.
Oh,
I love him. I love
There's
him.
a comment that needs to be highlighted here because Flip, yeah. There you go.
For how long?
True, but on a
It does
technicality.
not. And I'm glad because Nerd is black, I think. So I'm glad that Nerd is having a good time. No, but like you can't start like it's one thing to have a movie set in the antebellum South where that stuff is used, and I think Tarantino gets criticized.
Oh man. Oh, that's great.
I think
yes.
I think when you have a movie set in the antebellum South, and you are using that word, it fits. But when you're just having a fucking crime movie, Jack Nicholson just says the N word in the first 30 seconds.
When
like,
you're having
also,
type of crime film specifically, that is all about white crime. That's why it's a little weird.
White on white crime.
Yeah.
And also Django as a movie in general, not just Leo in that movie. Oh, Leo does it too, but that movie balances in such a fine. And I don't think people talk about this enough. Is that true? Is that fucking true? Is that true? I wouldn't be surprised.
He said probably. It was a joke.
Come on, Marty. Let me say it. Let me say it one time, Marty. I just want to say it. I almost sorry, water is coming out of my nose. But what Django does, and I don't think enough people talk about, is that it straddles a line where it is very serious subject matter, dark history that isn't on screen enough, and as it should be, but it also has humor in it, and it's fucking great. And I think Leo's character does that very well, where he is an evil piece of shit, but he has some very funny moments. So yeah, I think Django is my number 3 favorite Leo film.
I will say, because I'm not going to be touching on that one on my list at all. I will say Django is amazing and was one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. Really good crowd. It's a really fun theater film. But overall, sorry, still COVID coughing. Overall, just incredible cast and performances. Freaking Samuel L. Jackson basically dying to be this, frail old man and coming in to steal the last act of the movie. But Franco Nero is in it again to pass.
I love that. Such a good the D style.
And then obviously Jamie Foxx, incredible in the whole film. Christoph Waltz, amazing. Just a fantastic performance. And then of course Quentin Tarantino with the best accent work ever.
Yeah, so yikes.
What happened to him as an actor? Because from Dusk Till Dawn, he's great. Which, by the way, brilliant write Salma Hayek putting her foot in your own mouth. That's amazing. That's like that's the peak of writing.
Sardis says he never realized that was Samuel L. Jackson until the end credits.
Holy shit! Really?
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, he really does blend into that character.
Yeah, he does. What I love is that apparently there's a 4-hour cut of Django Unchained.
Jesus Christ!
There's like a 4-hour cut. You know the girl that they briefly show that has the bandana over her face?
Oh yeah, yeah.
She had some more parts fleshed out, and you find out that she's missing her jaw. Yeah, so like there was gonna be like a lot more to this movie. Very similar to Inglourious Bastards. It was like the script was like 10 hours. He had a whole section of was it the Harlem? What's the name of the Harlem Bombers? The black men who fought on the front lines.
The Tuskegee Airmen.
No, but there's a word for it's like Harlem something. But he had a whole section for them in that movie. So
that was not the right answer. I am tired.
You cut out. Did you say Globetrotters?
No. Did you say Globetrotters?
The Harlem Globetrotters, man. You know, famous World War II infantrymen.
Oh, no.
To be fair, they both took shots.
Oh my god.
All right, John. Let's transition, please. What is your third favorite Leo film?
So I had asked Ryan ahead of time, is this going to be based on performance or film quality? And so my number 3, yes, I've got it here, is Titanic. And the reason why is because I agree with you, Ryan. Leo
Where's
maybe
the mute button?
The mute
sorry,
button.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, man. I agree with you though. Leo, it probably is the weakest part of that movie, if not one of the weaker parts. Just he's young, he's kind of out there, you know. So I don't know, but I think the movie as a whole, I mean, it was a gateway movie for me for sure because that was one of my first theater experiences as a kid, and I remember even then just being absolutely mesmerized by what I was seeing on screen. That ship sinking sequence is phenomenal, and if you say it's not, we'll have words. Like, I don't know, just something about it is just the production of that movie is literally insane. Like, James Cameron is an insane man, and I think we know that. But just to see what he did, and I don't know if you've never taken the time to watch any like behind the scenes making of, you really should give it a chance because
it's well worth it.
With the models and the actual life-size sets and like the grand staircase flooding, like that's real. None of that's CG. Yep. Like that's a real, like they imploded that dome. It's crazy. So it's meant a lot to me as a kid growing up, and I just enjoy watching it. And yes, I have seen A Night to Remember. James Cameron did take a lot of liberty from that, and a lot of inspiration, almost shot for shot. Of course, 2 totally different movies in a way, but still, yeah, absolutely, totally worth a watch.
Hey, John, I have a question. Have you seen Titanic 2?
Yes, I do have it somewhere down here. I have it
I will
somewhere.
say that's a better movie.
That's a scene where a guy punches a fireball. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I totally watched that one too.
Nerd says A Night to Remember. Oh, did I miss it? Night to Remember is a much better Titanic movie.
I mean, yeah, in a way, it's more focused on, you know, like more realistic things instead of, because I know that's a big critique of it is, well, why aren't we focusing on real characters instead of Rose and Jack? And it's like, okay, I get that, but you know, whatever.
Did you see this flip? Clifford says, "Hell, A Walk to Remember was even better than Titanic."
I love it. I love you, Clifford.
Oh, I got one more thing with Titanic.
Eric, what's going on? Eric says Billy Zane was the true protagonist in Titanic, and there is the proof for John.
Yeah, absolutely. I met him last summer here. So
that was I was about to ask, was that at Crypticon in October or August, whenever it was?
Whenever it was, but yeah, that was Crypticon. And he was a cool dude, just as Zoolander says, you know.
People who think Titanic is a masterpiece think mayonnaise.
What you cut out? What was that? You ate mayonnaise on what?
People who think the Titanic's a masterpiece think that mayonnaise is too spicy.
Oh, yeah. I eat mayo with a lot of stuff, but it ain't too spicy.
All right, so let's start talking about what I think are his actual best films. So number 3 for me is The Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street, is that a clue? I think Wolf of Wall Street is literally amazing. I think that front to bottom, it is a wild ride, and it was mentioned above. I think Dave said it. Somebody said it, that his physical comedy in that film is surprisingly spot on and amazing. Obviously, you have random people that I've said obviously a lot stick out, like Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill is also great in it. We get our first Margot Robbie. Get some amazing highlights.
Fucking
Again,
Hall of Famers. Hall of Famers. I'm telling you.
Before he came on, we were talking about McConaughey having such an iconic performance, even though he was only on screen. I think it was for like 4 minutes or something like that, and he improvised that one main scene. But it is just start to finish. Jordan Belfort is.
What's up, my brother?
I love this slide lean in to click.
I had to get that on the screen.
Obviously, the Jordan Belfort story is not entirely accurate, but Leo does just an incredible performance in that movie, and above all, I think it's one of his most entertaining films.
It's very rewatchable.
Oh yeah,
I watched it today actually in preparation for this, and I hadn't seen it since it came out. But one thing that I think we can all agree with in terms and preparation for the next movies we're going to discuss is he's a very physical actor, and he works better when he's physical.
Oh, absolutely.
And Wolf of Wall Street,
I will stand by that 100%.
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street really is to 11. I mean, it's his most craziest role for sure. I mean, you could say Revenant, but that's like in a different sense. But I think he works better as the psychotic psycho, and Jordan Belfort in that movie absolutely is. I absolutely adore the scene where he's on the lewds and he's going down the steps. Like, that's incredible. You know,
I love the filming of that. How they make it look like it's like 30 steps or whatever, and then they pan away and it's like 6.
Dude, I wish I was Leo.
That was probably one of the most fun sets ever to be on.
No, I'm not talking about the set. I'm talking about wish my life was that.
I understand.
I
know
don't drink and do drugs, but my lord, good God.
I feel like if I was in The Wolf of Wall Street, I would have been Jonah Hill, sadly.
I would have been probably, I don't know, John Berthnall in that movie. He's, again, like you said, there's so many like actors that have like fucking few scenes in that movie that are just great. And Jonah Hill, by the way, only got paid $60,000 for that role because he wanted to work with Marty so
Agreed.
bad.
Yeah.
So God bless him for only taking $60,000.
Eric, we already talked about this at the start of the show, by the way. We
Yes, we
made
did.
sure to make it important to note that he refuses to date anybody over the age of 25.
Yes,
which
Eric,
is why the beat is so funny, because he hooks up with Tilda Swinton, who was like 40 in that movie. So,
yep.
We should do a sequel to this where we do top 3, bottom 3 women Leo have dated.
Oh God,
it's a long list.
That's all right.
It's like 19 women.
I like being able to attend my children's school still. So, anyways, what is your? You did your number 3? What is your number 2? Flip.
Number 2, man, it's tough because there's only a few Leo movies I don't like, and we talked about. There's a lot more movies that Leo has done that are just fucking great. And I gotta say, The Revenant is my number 2. I love that movie. I think it's one of the best modern westerns that we've had. I think the juxtaposition of their characters of Tom Hardy's and Leo's is incredible. I think Leo's acting not only as a guy who's trying to survive, but as a father is really emotional. I think he does a great job. I refuse to date women with an IQ over 25. Well, should I email your podcast, Boo, and tell your wife that you said that? Because she's a very intelligent woman. You can tell by the way she talks. So, yeah, I think The Revenant's great. And I think the CG is a little shoddy in that bear scene. It's a little bit shoddy. But my God, what a masterpiece of a movie! And then also, I went through like a week where I was just listening to podcasts about Hugh Glass for some reason because of that movie. I think that dude's fucking fat because the real life story is even more grisly than that. So, but yeah, like it's such a good movie. Revenant will test your loyalty as a movie watcher, and I passed. It was great. I need to show it to my wife. My wife hasn't seen it yet.
I do think Tom Hardy is better in it, but that's just my personal opinion.
I'm a sucker for Tom Hardy though. He's like my man crush. So I think he's phenomenal in that movie. If it's a role where he just has to grunt a few times, like Mad Max, I think he's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Revenant almost got my number 3. It is fantastic. I think that it is I think it was a test for Leo to get that film done the way that he did. And he finally got his win from it. That's the big thing that we have not touched on. It was his first acting Oscar win, and that kind of sad considering what he had put out before that film. He probably should have got it once or twice earlier.
Also, I want to say that the color grading on that film is.
It really makes it feel like, for example, I feel like it's Missouri. I living here. I feel like when I have been out hiking, it looks like that. When it's that time of year, it feels just like that. It is really spot on.
It's was it Lubeski? Is that the cinematographer? His stuff's always gorgeous.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Nerd says he deserved it earlier than that. And then John's story, he says he has his bodyguards keep the girls' phones. They sign a disclosure, and after sex, he gives them $1,000 plus gift baskets as a thank you. I have a friend whose agent and manager told him this.
Honestly, that's smart. You know the whole Dave Chappelle skit where he's like, all right, you got a check mark, like anal, like are we doing this? Because it's someone of that caliber. You got to take precautions.
Of course. And Cohen says, Leo is really good in The Revenant, which makes it even more impressive that Tom Hardy acted circles around Leo. I do agree. I do think Tom Hardy was the better performer in it, but it's genuinely really great.
mm-hmm.
That's a weird comment from Stardust right there.
Never saw the beginning of The Revenant. Always found myself starting in the middle. Interesting. All right, John.
Is The Revenant good?
Oh, yes. It is very, very solid.
Pick that up.
What is your number 2, John?
Like Flip said, it's really hard to come up with these top picks. So I just decided to just pick one that I thought maybe you guys would have. I'm not sure. But I went with Departed. And only just because I find it... I know you said, Flip, it's one of Scorsese's lower movies. And yeah. I would probably agree. But
it's a bad adaptation of the source material.
Yeah.
I think the original Infernal Affairs is just a fucking masterclass, and I think trying to adapt it, like there's almost shot for shot remakes of the original. I just don't think it's. But Leo's good at it.
Oh yeah, and that's where I wanted to point out too is going along with the physical acting of him. In that one, he is so anxiety ridden. And I think he does, great job at it. And the entire movie itself, if I started, I can't stop. It's one of those types of things. I gotta finish it. So that's another one.
It's long.
I watched this morning. I watched this morning while I worked, and it was great. Passed the time exceedingly well. And everybody's great in that movie too. It's not just Leo. I think it's probably one of Matt Damon and one of my favorite performances of his. Mark Wahlberg. Again, we can meme on him all we want, but I think he's perfect in that movie just because he's such an asshole and he doesn't care anybody who knows, and it's got such a satisfying ending with him too. But I don't know, movie as a whole I really enjoy, and that came out at a time too where I was 13 and I was just getting into these like gritty movies, so it was like big deal for me. So it always.
Wait, how old were you when The Departed came out?
13.
How old are you right now?
I'll be 29 in March.
I'm only a year older than you. I guess, man, goddamn, time goes by. Fuck.
I know, right?
I thought I was a grown ass man when that movie came out. Fuck.
I know, it's insane. But
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I got really much more to say. What more is there to say about that movie? I mean, it's a fun one. I don't know.
All of
And
the
you get
crap,
to hear Jack Nicholson say the N-word.
all of the crap that I would heap on Mark Wahlberg would not be memeing. He is an absolute pile of human garbage.
Oh,
But
yeah, absolutely.
Why? What did Mark Wahlberg?
why?
There's a little thing with a Vietnamese guy.
I'm kidding. Okay.
But in that movie, he's perfect because he's kind of just playing himself, you know, just a smarmy, smug asshole who hates
What's your favorite Mark Wahlberg thing he's done? My favorite is when besides the Vietnamese man, is that he said if he was on that plane, he would have stopped 9/11, which I think is great. And then he had to say sorry by doing Lone Survivor, Patriots Day. He had to make up for it. He's like, no, guys, trust me, guys, blue lives matter.
When we eventually do top 3, bottom 3 Mark Wahlberg, the statement he made can be number 1.
So first off, you mean bottom 6, top 0?
You realize it would be a hilarious discussion.
Oh my god, we should do that.
I mean, not that I've seen it. I know it's sacrilege that I haven't seen it, but like, would Boogie Nights probably be on a top 1? I would assume.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He said that's his biggest regret because he's religious now.
Okay.
That's his biggest regret. You know, not the almost killing people thing.
Yeah, not the blinding the Vietnamese man or
the Funky Bunch as well. You know,
not stopping 9/11. It's that he did Boogie Nights.
Yeah, Boogie Nights. What? Honestly, one of my favorite Mark Wahlbergs is Four Brothers. I actually like that film quite a bit.
Love that movie. That's got a fucking Outcast guy. What's his name?
Andre
3000.
Andre's so great in that movie.
Dude,
why isn't he getting more shit?
Have you gotten to the episode that he's in the Shield? I know you're watching it right now.
No, I'm on I'm on season 5.
Oh, so you finished the best season. So there's an episode of The Shield where he is out with a hose in front of a store in downtown LA spraying prostitutes, and the cops come up and you can't do that, sir. He goes, I'm just spraying down the hose with the hose. He is so funny.
I think I saw that, and I didn't click in my head that's Andre.
That is Andre 3000.
I want to say right now about The Shield. Season 4 was great. I think you overhyped it so far. I'm enjoying. I think it's great. I think Anthony Anderson was phenomenal, but it was like
departed actor Anthony Anderson.
Glenn Close annoyed me. She was trying so hard to be a white savior. She needs to calm down. All right. Acevedos though, he sucks.
He acts really well in that show though.
He's so great. His weird fetish now.
Stendhal asked you, did you watch Tom Hardy's period series Taboo?
No. I haven't even started Peaky Blinders. I've seen clips of him in Peaky Blinders.
And then Fu said, I'm going to try to guess Flip's number 1, but DiCaprio's never been in a samurai film.
Yeah, actually, it was Last Samurai. It was Tom Hardy. It says, what's this fucking? Tom Cruise as Leo.
All right, so I guess we are finally on to my number 2, and I don't think this is going to be on anyone's list tonight, and I think it's a shame because my number 2 is easily Catch Me If You Can. I think that was the first movie that showed that Leo could act genuinely in a film and carry it himself. Before that, his biggest thing obviously was Titanic, and they tried to put the beach on his shoulders and it caved. But Catch Me If You Can not only survives, but thrives. The cast, first of all, Christopher Walken in one of his best post-2000 roles ever. You have young Amy Adams being very, very believable in that. Elizabeth Banks is in it and very well, even though she's supposedly horrible to work with. But really, the 1-2 punch of Tom Hanks and Leo in that film is wild to watch. They act off each other perfectly, and what's crazy is they are not in many scenes together. When you watch it, it's just the chemistry of the cat and mouse game. And one thing that a lot of people fail to remember unless they've watched it recently, This is like one of the top 10 for me of all time movie scores. The music in Catch Me If You Can is bonkers good. Like one of the most mesmerizing main themes that they've ever had. Really good. This is going to be really awkward to point out if you've not been a band geek. Really amazing clarinet parts. Just genuinely get in your head and you can't stop because they are so well done. Catch Me If You Can obviously is a Leo DiCaprio starring, but Tom Hanks supporting role in a way that really gives power to both of them. And it, again, they're not even in many scenes together, but it thrives based on what they are doing to each other through the whole thing. And it is just a gift. I fucking love that movie, and not enough people talk about it anymore because he's changed so dramatically from that time. But if you think about it, that was kind of his first Wolf of Wall Street, like going above and beyond, acting a little crazy in some scenes, doing things that were very out of character for him at that point in his life. And it is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts?
I mean, I watched that for the first time this weekend as well.
Wow.
First time?
Yeah, first time.
Oh, by the way, Flip, you missed he at the very beginning. John said that he watched nothing but Leo films for the last couple of weeks, knowing that we were going to be doing this, so that he could actually study for this.
Yeah,
he put in a lot more work
effort.
than we ever have.
I took effort.
You've done more. You've taken this podcast more seriously than me and Ryan ever have.
Combined.
Yeah, I got notes too. You know, I was.
Oh Jesus! You got a thesis. You got a thesis
I
on
went to
your
school for film. It's kind of my thing, you know. I don't know, but
that makes sense.
But no, I mean, I liked it too. I wouldn't say it's like my most favorite. It's definitely middle of the road, if that makes sense. In terms of Leo movies, I see there's a comment here about the last great Spielberg movie, which I know Flip will have comments on. I saw something that said it was Spielberg trying to make a Scorsese movie as well. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I can see that.
Yeah. That is the number one thing that I've always felt. It is very much a Spielberg Scorsese.
He's very charismatic in it. I mean, and you say the music. I know it got nominated for an Oscar for music, but I can't hear it in my head, so I can't say if it's exactly memorable. But I know a lot of people do like it.
Jesus.
Flip's camera shake when he said Jesus. That's great. Yeah, the music is great. I suggest at least looking up the main theme and just pay attention to it once.
Yeah.
Look it up on Spotify or something. All right, never mind. Don't use Spotify. Look it up on Apple Music and find out what it actually is on its own. And it is genuinely great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Flipper, you're number one.
Yo, Flipper the Skipper. I'm gonna show you my Big Dipper. It's in my zipper. My number one is. I don't know if it's recency bias.
Do we all have the same number one?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
John?
You're cutting out, sorry.
Is your number one Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No, that's not.
Okay. So Flip and I can just wax poetic about this film because this is my obvious number one.
I'm a massive Quentin Tarantino fan, obviously. And knowing about the premise of the movie going in, I was not expecting to like it as much as his last three films. Because I think every prior to
What just happened?
I don't know.
I can't hear you at all. Flip, you're gone. You have no microphone.
I thought I cut out bad. Oh no.
He will be right back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Usually he's gone for less than 10 seconds. So if I just vamp for a second, he might be able to. What did he just do? Jesus. That was no mic. So I'm just going to fucking leave. Who cares? All right. Let's just start with your number one then. And then we'll come back to him when he comes back.
Well, we already talked about it. My number one, and again, it's hard to pick, right? So it could change in an hour from now. It could change tomorrow, anything. I had thought about doing like Aviator, because even though that movie it's not my pick, but even though that movie was really hard to get through, super long, I found the last half of it pretty engaging when he gets all OCD and crazy, because because again, physical aspect of him and all that.
Right,
but that's
but
not
I
my
don't see
pick.
that. Yeah, I wouldn't see that getting anywhere near the top 3.
No, not at all. But it's a good Leo performance. It's an okay
Sure.
movie, but judging by performance, it's probably one of his better movies for sure. I wanted to do like Gilbert Grape as well, but I haven't seen that forever, so I didn't want to bring that up. But my number one, Django. I mean,
We're doing John's number 1, and then we're going to come back to ours.
yeah.
Hell
So
yeah, dude.
Django. I mean, he's in it for so little, but he's so like memorable, and he chews the scenery so much. Being so charismatic to going to a complete psychopath in drop of a hat.
Is he really nerd? I've not heard of this. Nerd is saying that Leo has OCD in real life.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
overly
not,
cool disease.
that's true. But if he does, then absolutely, putting that into your character for Howard Hughes, like,
Right.
it's excellent. It's real. But with Django though, again, I don't want to say iconic, but like of all the Tarantino type movies and characters, I mean that one's up there for sure. Just because it's so memorable. Everybody knows the stuff, But I think that movie could have been shorter if you want to talk about movie quality. I think it could have cut out about 20 minutes.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to look away.
I did not mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, it's
That was
okay.
amazing.
I'm giving him his time. But again, what more can we say about Calvin Candy?
He
But
sure is
great.
dandy.
mhm.
Is that
And like I
what
said,
we
he's
have
not
grown
in it
to
for
as
long,
rhyming?
but super memorable.
Yes, he is not in it for long, but super memorable. And the last act of that movie, just almost perfection, literally. And
Well,
the way
it's a
that
Quentin Tarantino movie, of course.
I just think it could have been cut down a little bit, but that was my first Tarantino movie in a theater. So you want to talk about theater experience like we did earlier? That one was incredible. I had so much fun watching it.
Yep.
So that's that.
All right. So we have done enough dissertation on Django.
Yes.
So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Flip.
So I'm a massive QT fan, and I like all of his movies. I don't think he has a bad movie under his belt. I think Death Proof is a fine movie.
Death Proof.
But
So
but if you fuck yourself, if you take Death Proof out of the equation, before Kill Bill, all his movies are very small in scope. Right? Fantastic. All his movies are very small crime movies. They're very,
Yes.
they're very memorable. They're very well acted, great actors. But Kill Bill was like a change. Kill Bill is a fucking epic. One of the best action movies of the last 20 years. You Wu Ping doing great fight choreography. And then everything that came after that, Glorious Bastards, Django Unchained, Hateful Eight, Hateful Eight's a little smaller in scope, but Kill Bill and Glorious and Django all feel epic. And what I love about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is that it has this epic scope to it in the sense that LA feels like a real city, these epic characters, but it feels like an older Quentin Tarantino. It feels like very intimate, like his old movie.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So, see, Fu also likes Death Proof, and that's because Fu is a very smart man.
Garbage. Sorry.
I will be able to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood till the day I die. That movie is genuinely magical. The fact that it is one of his altering history type films, and it is kind of says it right here. It is overwhelming the first time you see it because it is large in scope, but also very intimate at the same time. And the way that he directs it is literal perfection in my eyes. The main thing that I took away from that, the Spun Ranch scene with Brad Pitt, that is literally the scariest scene in a mainstream film, at least for the last 3 years, was so well filmed and so well done.
It was hilarious.
Intense. Yes, hilarious at the end of it, but my goodness, the tension leading up to that was perfect. The acting overall was amazing. The story was so well done. seeing Leo go from vulnerable to on top of the world and back to vulnerable so many times over, the hilarity of the final 8 minutes or whatever.
So good.
There's just far too much to talk about. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is genuinely might be a perfect film for me.
Yeah. Is there any N-words in that movie? I'm not trying to be funny, but I don't think there is any N-words. I think it's the only Quentin Tarantino movie.
I don't know.
Just
I don't think so.
A whole lot of Margot Robbie's feet.
Dude. Even my wife knows Margot Robbie.
Everybody knows that. Stendhal asks, what did we think of the Bruce Lee portrayal and backlash?
I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I'm a massive Kung Fu fan. I think Bruce Lee is severely overrated.
He is, yeah.
I mean, without...
He's iconic.
Literally, his first movie was a story beat ripoff of this. So he wasn't even original. He was just ripping off of someone that he hated. He did say he wanted to be bigger than Jim. So I'm not a big Bruce Lee fan. It's whatever. But I think he's like Jesus for people in the circles that I like to. There's Fu. I'm heading out. Enjoy the rest of the show, fellas. I think he was joking because I said that Bruce Lee was. But yeah, the backlash. Who gives a shit? It's a movie. It's not real.
I thought it was blown out of proportion too, but that's just me. I don't know. I didn't think it was disrespectful. I don't know.
I think the whole film was exaggerating everything.
Yeah.
The whole point was to exaggerate the entire situation and make
like you said, it's alternate history. Like
right.
Also, I want to point something out, and this is going to ruffle some feathers, but Kung Fu is not a real martial art. Okay, if you go up against somebody who knows like Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu or Muay Thai, you're going to get fucked up. So if Brad Pitt's character knew anything with a practicality, because Kung Fu is not it's not. Wing Chun is not a real martial art. It's fun to watch. It's great to watch, but it's not a real thing. It doesn't have a good basis in reality. Yeah, I think that's right, and both of them suck. So that's perfect. No, but
yes.
but when people are like, "Oh, Bruce Lee would totally kick his ass," it's like, not really. I mean, I think an average Navy SEAL could probably take on Bruce Lee and absolutely destroy him. So,
yeah,
you don't see karate guys in the UFC. You don't see fucking Wing Chun experts fighting in the UFC. No, because you know why?
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. And also, there's a Chinese MMA fighter from China who goes around. His social credit score is like very low in China because of this. No, this is real. He goes and he challenges. You can look it up on YouTube. He challenges these masters of these Chinese martial arts that are celebrated and loved, and he pummels them. And it's a whole facade. And I think a lot of Westerns also have this like when you watch the movie of Bruce Lee, he's doing all these crazy things. You're like, wow, he's a badass. But I've taken boxing lessons. I could probably spar easily.
I think that this is exactly, excuse me, how I felt. It seemed obvious that it was Cliff Booth's fantasy version of Bruce Lee, that he could beat him basically in one punch.
Mm-hmm.
One other performance I wanted to throw out here, which just because I love the trivia aspect of it. What is his last name? His name is Damon Harriman, is the one that played Manson in it, which obviously Manson is hardly in it at all. But he also played Manson in the Mindhunter series on Netflix. But he is best as Dewey Crow from Justified. He is amazing in everything he does. I love that they're able to get these people that fit the role so well in these QT movies, and they are perfect. Absolutely perfect. I mean, a movie that we are showing Roman Polanski, and nobody cares that character is in this. That is hard to do. And when you're talking about film, Hollywood, and all that, it's somebody that we just plain overlook through a lot of this.
Ryan, you tell people why Roman Polanski's famous. Because he survived the Holocaust.
Yes.
That is the main reason. Yeah.
Can I interject, Ryan? Because this
Sure.
is topical. So going back to the autographs, I've got a really special autograph in my collection, and it's timely since you're talking about this. I'm not going to pull it off the wall, but I may Charlie Manson.
Oh.
You have Charles Manson's autograph?
Yes, it was a.
I knew there was something wrong with you.
It was either a birthday or a Christmas gift I got one year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who the fuck buys somebody that? What?
My mother, actually.
I would love that as a gift personally.
So wait. I want to discuss. You can't cuss in front of your mother, but she can give you an autograph of a man who murdered people.
I like to collect really weird and obscure autographs.
Don't you say
I know
he
that
did.
One's really
Don't
up there
you say that, Ryan?
It's pretty rare.
I saw that fucking finger go up.
I've got other weird autographs in my collection too, but that one might be one of the top ones, easily.
I've been trying to buy a piece of John Wayne Gacy art.
There was the movie Torment that Unearthed Films put out. There was a bundle that if you bought, it was like a $150 bundle. You get the movie and a poster, blah blah blah. But then you get an actual piece of Gacy artwork. As there was like 5 bundles sold.
Hell yeah!
They sold out immediately.
See, stuff like that I know is really morbid, but I'm all for it. I also have on my wall, not that it's really morbid, but we're talking about Scorsese. I've got a painting by Henry Hill on here as well. And stuff like that is just completely obscure and random, you know. So
who is Henry Hill? I don't know offhand.
Goodfellas.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that in ages. It's just such a
painting. It was a painting he did and sold on eBay years before he died.
I would have a Henry Hill painting. Taylor was actually talking to me the other night. She goes, "Why do you glorify money?" And I'm like, "Because they're fucking awesome."
I wanted to highlight too. Sardis said, "I ran across a short animation with Manson as one of the voices. It is so wild. If you spend any sort of real time diving into all of the things that Manson did with his music, with the stuff with the Beach Boys, with everything that his hand was in back then, and then there is, I think it was Bryan Cranston supposedly had a run-in with Manson because he was at the ranch,
that's a good
riding
story.
a horse or something. He's just everywhere and so oddly connected back in that time.
Yeah.
And then Stendhal says Mindhunter should not have ended. It was one of their best series. I fully agree. And the rumor was Fincher was trying to get a 3rd season, but it cost too much money to make or something. So,
but Netflix, they like to produce, bad shit. They like to just keep bad shows. Like, what's that Rock movie? They're doing a sequel to that.
Red Notice or whatever.
God damn, dude.
Yeah. All right. So to throw out there, we talked about all of our favorite top and bottom Leo starring roles. What about stuff that we didn't mention? Anything that we should talk about that we haven't?
Put them all away.
No.
I wanted to bring up Inception. I think it's a really good movie. I think Leo, his role could have been played by almost anybody, and it probably
I really like Inception as well.
I think it would have been just as good of a movie. I also wanted to highlight Shutter Island. I know that Flip says it's one of Scorsese's worst, but I tend to like it. I think it was at least decently made, but I don't think Leo is the big performance there that I remember. I think that goes to a couple others. So
I remember nothing of that movie, so that gives you my idea of it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's not really much other huge, like we hardly talked about The Aviator. Obviously,
Somebody in the comments mentioned Don't Look Up because that's recent. I don't know what you guys.
That's right. I was going to mention that. The reason why it wasn't hated on so much, I have yet to see it. It is one I do want to see. I think it was talking to John this morning.
It was fine. It's fine. That's about it. It's fine.
Yeah. And the problem with a lot of those films nowadays is some of them are like 2.5, 3 hours long. Like a lot of the Judd Apatow films are like those. It's why are we filming these for 3 hours?
Yeah, that's Adam McKay too now, of course.
Yep. Any others that you wanted to highlight there, Flip?
He's a white actor, so I don't really watch too many white movies, you know?
That makes sense.
One of these days, he'll get into a samurai film. Or
I don't think so. He's getting too
Martial
puffy for
movie.
samurai movies.
Probably not.
martial arts or wuxia, whatever you always say. Yeah, he'll get in one of those.
Don't roll your eyes at me.
Maybe it'll be in another Spielberg film that you'll love.
Yeah, you know me, massive Spielberg.
Top to bottom.
You guys
Especially
know me.
West Side Story.
Oh
I know you love
God, dude,
musicals.
fucking, just fucking. I would honestly, and I'm not being funny. I would rather play Russian roulette than watch a musical.
All right. So going through the rest of his list, What's Eating Gilbert Grape? I know I've seen it. I know that he does very well in it, but I hardly remember it all. It's just not one that has stuck with me. The Quick and the Dead. It's an interesting film. He obviously hardly plays any impact on the film whatsoever, but it's decent. Somebody mentioned earlier The Basketball Diaries. It's actually a good movie. Again, I don't think he is enough of that to make a big deal. Blood Diamond, I genuinely liked quite a bit. I just think it came at an odd time in his career. No one tonight has ever mentioned J. Edgar. I've never seen J. Edgar. Anybody?
Nope.
Anybody
Nope.
other than Leo?
Body
I'm
of
sure
Lies.
one of his many.
Skipped over as well.
Body of Lies is good. I like that movie.
Yeah, Ridley Scott.
Yep.
One of the better Ridley Scott movies.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, though.
Oh yeah, This Boy's Life was in there too.
Stendhal said, I didn't realize it was Sharon Stone that jump-started Leo's career in The Quick and the Dead. It sure was.
Hell yeah, Stardust. Right, yeah, hell yeah, brother.
Apparently, she paid his salary when the producers didn't want him as an unknown. Ridiculous. God, that was... What year was that even? 95?
95?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 95. So, what year was he born? He was born in 70. He was only 21 in that film. 20
Hey,
or
John,
21?
Oh, sorry.
That was it.
I was just going to say, John, I have a couple questions. I want to get to know you a little better.
Oh, we're cutting out. I'm so sorry. My internet's been bad all night.
I want to ask you a couple questions to get to know you better.
Okay, yeah.
What's your all-time favorite movie?
You said all-time favorite movie?
Yeah.
All That Jazz from 1979, Bob Fosse. That's my number one movie of all
That's
time.
a unique pick. Okay. I can respect that. What's your favorite band?
Between the Buried and Me. I don't know if you know them at all.
Yeah! Okay. 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 I see you. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. They're coming
Okay,
around
favorite
here
porn star.
right around my birthday, and I want to go so freaking bad.
Why don't you and Ryan go? Make it a date.
Absolutely.
I actually just got tickets to go to a concert for my birthday. My wife got me
What'd
Coheed
you
and
get?
Cambria tickets.
Oh!
Cut out. So
Stalker.
what'd you get tickets
Coheed.
for?
Coheed and Cambria.
Oh,
Coheed and
they'd be fun too. They'd be
Yeah.
fun.
John, who's your favorite porn star?
I'm a good boy. I don't do that.
Wait.
What?
Let me zoom in on his face color change here.
Mother's watching. I can't say.
I'm sure she can. Oh, I'm sure it's your mom. All right.
Mom, mute the TV.
All right. Now.
I plead the fifth.
You
So-
seem like a Sarah J type of
Sure.
Flip, before you came on, you missed the first part of what he is working on collecting right now. He is trying to collect all of the movies that have been nominated for Best Picture ever on physical media.
Yeah, it's a task, but it's fun.
There's like 500 something of them.
That's too many movies.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
a
lot.
lot.
Movies suck. Have you noticed that? Movies are just.
A lot of
A
them
lot
do.
of them can be.
Yeah.
Especially Ingmar Bergman. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean,
I know.
yeah.
That's why
I'm
you said
fucking
it.
with you. You have a very eclectic taste there. I see some Vinegar Syndrome. I see
These
shit
are some
that
of
when
my
I'm
like
drink-
favorite sort of releases that I've
Yeah,
got.
show us your favorite shelf because I think that's an interesting way to get to know people.
I've got Possession. Incredible, absolutely incredible. Love this movie. This
Have
box
you
set
seen
is.
Possession, Flip?
No, but we talked about it. You
Oh my god, it
Granted.
is. It is insane. 5 out of 5 easily.
Dawn of the Dead,
Dawn of the Dead, incredible from Second Sight.
classic.
Um,
Heard of that movie?
I haven't seen all these yet, but I do absolutely love this box set from Vinegar Syndrome of the Homegrown Horrors. It's just great design. The movies they seem fun. Winter Beast is really silly.
Winter Beast is great.
It's a good one. I usually change these out every now and then, whatever I'm feeling. Of course, I had Straight Story because this was filmed in my hometown. So David Lynch, Sissy Spacek, Richard Farnsworth. It's the least Lynchian movie, but it means a lot to me as well. But yeah, so that's a couple things I got here.
Oh, that's too bad.
Do you
I
have
wanna
any
point out-
Asian movies? Oh, sorry. I was just saying.
Uh,
Do you have any martial arts? Do you have any sword movies?
Not really. Whatever. I mean, whatever might be in Criterion, which I know is your favorite label. Like these are all Criterion movies. It was my gateway into boutique stuff.
Do you have
come
this?
on.
Do you have this? Lone Wolf?
We've gone 2 hours without mentioning Lone Wolf and Cub.
Do you have this?
Give me that for
Do
Flip.
you
The record.
do you
I
have
don't
this?
have Lone Wolf and Cub. No, I'm sorry.
All right.
That is
I'll
his
pick it up
best
next
contribution of the entire night, by the way.
I'll pick it up next.
great.
Next thing.
So Stendhal says Possession is probably his favorite film ever. That is a great choice. Eric saw Possession in the theater. A great experience. Possession is. You really need to see it. It is
just
something
insane.
special.
I'm watching Siege tonight.
Oh, interesting.
With snowed in, Siege, and then I get 2 days off work. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And then don't forget, seek out Kill List. I do think it is a very Flip film.
Kill us. Okay. Is there any people that look like this?
Kill List
in the
by?
movie?
Is that Ben Wheatley?
What?
Or am I wrong? No, Flip's gone.
I took him out.
Oh no.
So,
I canceled it myself.
So two of my best friends are both Filipino and they work at the restaurant. We rib on each other. And I'll walk up and I'll be like, "Hey, Risa, is it racist if I do one?" And she's just like, "Come on."
I was trying to point out it is very cool to me that I don't think I've seen anybody besides myself highlight the film Tourist Trap. I love Tourist Trap. You've never seen it, have you, Flip?
Do I look like somebody who has seen Tourist Trap?
Definitely not. But I think John was cutting out or something when I said that. So he had no clue what was just said.
I couldn't remember, I'm sorry.
I said it was awesome that you were highlighting Tourist Trap because hardly anybody else gives attention to that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's that. I think you told me to not buy this, but I did anyway.
I definitely did
last
tell you not
year.
to buy that.
I think I texted you that a couple years ago.
Yep.
Still haven't seen it. Catch it sometime.
It is great.
So, John, what's your most anticipated release of the year so far?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I keep up with a lot of recent stuff, but I have no idea what's coming out. I really don't. I don't know. You'll have to name some things. I have no idea.
Are you talking about new
What does that
movies, or are
mean?
you talking about physical media?
New. Like, are you looking forward to anything coming out this year? Like new movies?
Well, it
He's
cut out
looking
again,
for-
so I'm sorry.
He's looking for
I
getting good
think-
internet.
I think your
I
internet's
know.
still
I
on
promise next time I'll do something different. But but either way, I get my boutique Blu-ray news from you guys. So whatever you guys put out and say, I'll be excited for. We talked about the Vinegar Syndrome releases today, and then, like I said, in terms of like theatrical releases, I don't know what's coming out. I have no idea. I'm kind of out of loop right now.
John, who do you think has the better taste, me or Ryan, in movies?
One now. It's really bad. I'm so sorry, guys.
Who do you think?
I can't understand you guys.
Who do you think has the better taste in movies, me or Ryan?
Oh no, Flip! You cut out. I hear who do.
The world's never gonna know. Who do
It's
you think
never
has
gonna
the
know.
better taste?
Someone in chat,
better
please
taste in-
write it down.
Start write it for us, please.
I need help.
No, John. All right, John? Can you hear me?
Yeah, kinda.
Who do you think has the better taste in movies, me or Ryan?
It still cuts out. Who has the better taste in movies?
There.
Flip around. There we
God
go.
damn
Thank
it.
you. God damn, yeah.
Yikes!
I'm gonna be really honest.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get offended. By this.
Well,
I know it's him.
I side more with Ryan only because I watch more of that stuff. I don't watch a whole lot of Asian cinema, which is kind of bad because I need to get more world oriented. Yeah, no, but
What are you, Mark Wahlberg?
that's just something I just don't seek out. But I do know that I need to watch more than I have a number of them. Not of course the martial arts type movies that you like so well, because half of the stuff that you mentioned I've never heard of. And I've looked them up on Letterboxd, and they have like 2 logged entries, and one is you. Like super obscure, And Ryan and I have connected on like the horror stuff, So, and yeah, I'm sorry. I see Asian movie enthusiasts comment here. I'm really sorry.
Oh,
But,
That was such a perfect response because
like
it
the
is
most
so true.
like the most Asian stuff that I've seen though is like Takashi Miike movies or
Ouch, Sardis. Ouch. Very ouch.
I don't know what. But
dude, I love the fact that you said that thing about Letterboxd because someone messaged me the other night and said, "Hey, what the fuck is this movie? You're the only person who's logged it." And I was just...
it's true though.
Oh, man.
And I know you've mentioned it before, but I've looked them up and I'm like, wow, this is obscure. But I think that's great to find those ultra obscure movies.
It's
Yeah,
important.
I'm a loser.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Oh."
Thanks, John. You're a sweetheart.
Yeah, I think you're welcome.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand a word you guys said, but I agreed.
said I'm a loser, and you went, uh-huh. I said I'm a loser, and you went, yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's funny.
That is, that whole conversation was comedic gold.
I can't wait to watch the VOD.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, you're definitely not an Asta Akira fan.
No comment.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Can I throw some names out there and you just give me a?
It's not like I'm an absolute idiot. I know names. I'm just,
Yeah, but you tell me if that's one that you enjoy. Yeah, you go. Okay, ready? Ava Adams. All right, ready?
He's hiding himself from blushing.
Oh, Ava Adams hits your chord with you. Okay.
we'll just end it there on that topic.
Well, I do have one thing to point out in the chat here. I wanted to help you out here, so I got the
If I
Comcast
can hear
customer
you,
service
yeah.
number for you.
What?
I got the
Thank you.
Comcast customer service number.
I actually have AT&T, so you know.
No, it's to sign up, please.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I promise next time things will be different.
If we can ever get a hold of you.
Yeah.
If you're not busy watching Angela White.
What's that?
I heard nothing. Maybe that's a good time to call it. Oh man.
All right. Tonight has been a blast. I hope everybody enjoyed that, even though a lot of it was incoherent. I have been severely enjoying the top 3 bottom 3s that we've been doing, both of them. And I am looking forward to the next one. And we have some pretty cool stuff coming up. So thanks for hanging out tonight, everybody. And next week will be a lot more of a regular show with Flip here the entire time. And I can't wait to do this again. John, thanks for hanging out tonight.
Okay.
You have been...
Thank you.
All right, ready? Eric, get your pen. Skylar Vox, Gabby Carter, Riley Reed.
You have been a fountain of knowledge, and we appreciate you taking the time to prepare for this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here. I'm anytime. I'm down.
All right. That is it for the week. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next Tuesday.